The ethical theories from the previous chapter are methods of deciding what's right and wrong. They are ways of saying there is an ethical center, and it does hold. All these theories have defenders and attackers. Each theory has its strengths and weaknesses. In this chapter, we discuss critiques that affect all the moral systems we have discussed. Remember Jean-Paul Sartre, the guy who proposed radical freedom? Sartre points out that all of the major moral theories are built on the foundation of logic. For instance, an egoist will tell you that the right thing to do is whatever promotes your long-term interests. And you figure out what your long-term interests are by using logic. Sartre claims choice is more foundational to human beings than reason. Sartre says we choose to be rational. Choice comes before reason. No moral system can compel us to be ethical. Sartre's pitch for radical freedom ultimately questions the possibility of ethics in the first place. According to Sartre, then, we can't base ethics on logic. According to David Hume, we can't base a system of right and wrong on facts either. Hume states, no is ever implies an ought. In other words, a fact tells us how the world is, but just because the world is a certain way doesn't mean it should be that way. For instance, people eat meat. That is a fact, but that fact does not mean that people should eat meat, ethically speaking. Let's try this in terms of an ethical theory. Utilitarianism is based on the idea that people seek pleasure and avoid pain. But just because people do seek pleasure does not mean that it is morally good to seek pleasure. Just because we seek pleasure doesn't mean we should seek pleasure. Every ethical theory has to deal with Sartre's challenge to logic and Hume's point about the way the world is versus the way the world ought to be.